Hey everybody, happy Friday. Happy almost 4th of July weekend. Hope you guys have some fun plans and really looking forward to the weekend. So I am excited. Going live twice in a week. I have a special guest that I wanted to bring to you, the one and only dietitian extraordinaire, Amber Gourley. So happy to have you with me today, Amber.
Thank you. You're too kind.
It's all true, though. It is so true. You have, I mean, really, I just have loved to, watch you grow. I mean, especially over the last 2 years, like amazing stuff.
Yeah,
Really
well,
cool.
working with you was a huge catalyst to that. So
Thank
you're
you. I'm so glad.
coach extraordinaire.
All right. I love that. I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, guys, we are going to talk about certainly one of my favorite topics, and that is how to create leverage and passive income. And I'll bet it's probably one of your favorite topics too, because I hear this all the time. How do I do it? Right? How do I do it? Where do I start in terms of being able to create um, that leveraged income? And how do I begin to move from only seeing one-to-one clients into this more scaled and leveraged business model where I can serve more people, right? And ramp up that revenue. And honestly, create a whole new revenue stream for your business. So that is what we're going to talk about today, all about leverage and passive income. So here's specifically what we're going to cover: how to turn your expertise into exponential income via leverage and passive income offers, how to nail your offer, crafting programs and packages that your audience will actually buy. And that's a key part of the equation. We're going to talk a little bit about sales funnel basics. And I heard this term the other day, and I really like it. The invisible bridge that moves your audience from finding you to buying from you. So we're going to talk a little bit about that process and a whole bunch more in between. So let's kick things off. By the way, I'm Lesli Bitel. For those of you that don't know me, welcome. Super happy to have you here with me and with Amber as well. And I am a business strategist and coach, and I work with lots and lots of dietitians and practitioners in private practice. And what I do is I help you to overcome that sense of confusion, that overwhelm that often comes with the business side of building a profitable practice. So I'll help you to streamline that entire experience, really so that you're focusing on the right strategies in your business and ultimately help you to build a practice that you love. So that is a little bit about me. I'm going to turn it on over to my wonderful guest, Amber. And so, Amber, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about you and what you've been up to?
Sure. So I am Amber Gourley. I originally founded this particular Facebook group, oh my gosh, 5, 6 years ago. Started out as a virtual practice group, as many of you remember, and then as I have grown and shifted, kind of turned it more into a business development, mindset, marketing focused group.
Love that.
I started
And
out
by
as
the way, Amber, you might not know, we're actually live streaming into 4 groups.
oh, I did not know. Okay, then I will take credit.
So,
Just one. Just one.
just so you know. So, we're live streaming. We're going
Wonderful.
live 5 places at once, right? And
I like
one of
that.
those groups, yep. That's the beauty of the technology today, right? It's like you
It
can
is.
do it all. So 4 groups.
Okay.
4 groups. Yeah, I think 4 groups,
Awesome.
including the one that you founded.
Awesome. Okay.
Yep. So
Way to stick my foot in my mouth right out of the gate.
No, it's all good. Just thought you might want to know because people
Yeah.
are like, oh wait, what group is she talking about? So it's
Yep.
the mindset and marketing mastery group.
Yes. Yes. So I started as a solo practitioner and decided that I was going to leverage income by developing a group practice. I currently have 2 dietitians that work for me and then 2 RDs to be that are pre-hired and will be coming on board over the summer. And we work with everything from diabetes to women's health to eating disorders, but our passion is women's health and eating disorders. And we're actually getting ready to do some group work this summer ourselves. So it's a very timely
Very
topic.
timely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's jump in. I love this topic so much. Like if I were to pick one thing that I get asked about the most, by far, it is this. How do I create more variety, right? Because, I mean, we all know one-to-one work is awesome, right? Not going to take that away. It's great. It's fun. It's often where your clients see amazing results because they get a lot of support and hand-holding. The thing that I hear, and I know I experienced this myself, is that it can be exhausting, right? One client after the next, multiple hours every single day.
Yep.
And it's limiting because you only have so many hours in a day, right? And at a certain point, you are going to max out. So, so I help my clients first, really become very successful in terms of generating revenue in the one-to-one model. And again, there reaches a point where it's like, okay, where can I grow? And almost always it's let's look at some leveraged offers that we can create inside of your business and help you grow that way. So what attracted you to, moving in this direction, Amber? What was it about the model that seemed really appealing to you?
For a group practice or for starting programs?
Starting programs,
Okay,
like starting group programs and that
Okay.
whole model.
So a little bit more background. I worked at the VA for a good number of years, and during that time I restructured some of the group programs and ran group programs. And the dynamic is it's a lot of fun. It is so much fun to run a really, really engaged group program. And you do see some fantastic outcomes and some great synergy in groups. It's also a really great way to introduce people to other services that you offer. And so for us, now that we're in a private practice setting and I'm looking to grow the ED side a lot more, starting something like a group program actually makes a lot of sense for us because we can partner with other providers in our community and grow our awareness and then actually drive those back to one-on-ones to fill our clients' caseload. So it's a little bit of a reverse for us, but that's the way that I'm utilizing and leveraging group programs this year.
I love that. Okay. So, so many questions that I want to ask you about that. I guess the first one is how do you go about deciding on a topic? You know what I'm saying? Like you're kind of moving. I mean, your growth has been extraordinary. I mean, absolutely just amazing in terms of just everything that you've done, right? Like having this amazing, by the way, are you guys seeing patient clients in person now? Because I know you've got a brick and mortar, like this beautiful facility that you've, put together and built. So are you guys back in person?
We are. We live in a smaller area. We're not metro like Chicago or New York or anywhere like that. So we've been mostly back in person for a few months now.
Okay, awesome. And you started to grow your practice with an emphasis on, basically hiring more RDs and other practitioners as well. And guys, just FYI, Amber and I had a nice long chat about this on a previous Facebook Live. So if you want to hear a little bit more about that, you can look through on my Facebook business page and find more about, how to move, like how to hire other RDs, right? Or other practitioners, right? Not just RDs, like how to build a full team for your practice. So more on that in an earlier live stream. So you've had massive growth. when it comes time to create like this group program type of platform, where do you start? Like because as practitioners, there's so many topics that we could cover. Like, how did you go about nailing down what would be a really good topic for a group?
So again, each business is going to be different, right? You're going to have a different client base. You're going to have different methods for reaching your clientele. For us, because we're brick and mortar, so keep in mind this is brick and mortar, we have a really great relationship with a couple of therapists. And so for us, it was going to the therapist and saying, hey, we want to start an ED group. What do you think the needs are? And so we're starting kind of with an intermittent 13-week closed group. And I think that's something important to talk about, is a closed group or an open group.
Yeah.
Meaning, can people start and then they have a stopping point, or can people come in at any point during your group? And Lesli, I'm sure, can talk to that a little bit more.
Yeah. What did you decide for your group this summer?
So I've run both open and closed. I like a closed group much better. You get a lot more bonding with your cohort, if you will. And something like ED, there's an extra layer of vulnerability for a lot of those clients, and it can be a little bit more scary than say maybe weight loss, just because of the fear around ED. So for us, it'll be closed group.
To me, that makes sense. So, guys, and just so you're clear on, we're talking about, so if the group, and I suppose it depends on how long the group is as well.
Yeah.
But basically, we're referencing, can you just join anytime? Or is it like a start date and an end date, right? And I do think it's important to make that decision really based, I think you got to look at your niche, just like what Amber said. And I would venture to say, even for other niches, like I would say there are benefits to making it a closed enrollment, meaning it starts on a certain date, it ends on a certain date. And I think a lot of it has to do with just the bonding in general, right? Like you really want that group. Like if one of your goals is to build like a sense of community, then I do think it makes sense to start, everyone starts on the first, all together, and, you go through the program, and that way, just that, they can support each other, they get to know each other. There's not like people kind of popping in and out. I feel like that can, a program like that, you can lose some of that continuity in terms of the group support aspect.
Yeah, especially if you have a program that builds on itself. That's different than having like a cooking group or something like that.
Right. Yeah. So you really have to look at your goals, look at, what you're trying to accomplish. And I love what you said about, in terms of picking a topic, because I feel like that is it can be a potential holdup for our practitioners out there listening. Like, oh my gosh, there's so many topics. What should I build a group around? And I'm a huge fan of market research, and that's essentially what you did. And what I love about what you just described, talking to the therapist, is that because you're building a group program around their recommendations, they're in it, right? They've got like skin in the game, and they're probably going to be outstanding referral sources to help you fill your group with the right people, right?
Yep.
So I think that part is incredible. So guys, the one little bit of a little recommendation that I have in terms of, because you might want to build a group program, a course, like there's a lot of different models that we can look at. The one thing I will say is, regardless of what you end up picking, you want to make sure that your program is positioned to solve an urgent problem, okay? It really needs to be positioned to solve an urgent problem. Otherwise, it's, you know, it's just more challenging, right? So like any of your programs, any of your services that you create, you always want to keep that in mind. What is the overarching urgent problem that this particular service is going to help solve? And if you can nail that down, you're going to be in really good shape from a marketing perspective. So, all right. So, you know, in terms of picking a topic, I would definitely say, you know, do a little market research and really try to hone in on, you know, that specific issue that your clients have that you feel like you can, you know, really cover in the program. So in terms of the offer, so let's talk a little bit about, like, you know, just kind of high level. How do you decide what to include, you know, in the offer? How do you go about doing that, Amber?
Oh goodness. So again, we're very different dynamic than maybe an online um, program or not program, but dietitian practice.
Sure.
So as far as, and let me get some clarification for you before I go any further. Are you talking about the content itself within the program, or like bonuses and add-ons and
Yeah,
incentives?
that, like,
Okay.
you know, like kind of like the framework for the program. I think actually, I mean, there are two big aspects, right? Um, Honestly, most of our audience, I'm going to guess like 90%, because I hear this a lot. It's really challenging to even think about the marketing and like what are you going to include in all those things until like mentally we just want to go right to the content, right? Like, oh my God, let me make sure the content's in order, you know, before I even go any further. And I always say this, what I recommend is that you kind of do the opposite, right? Because if you don't have people in this program, you don't have a program, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, the big mistake I see, honestly, is focusing so much time up front creating the content that you never get the program off the ground. You just never do. So just keep that in mind. So let's kind of talk through like kind of a high level, you know, how do you craft the offer? What do you put in the offer? How do you know how long it should be? What's all included? You know, and just putting all that together. How do you go about doing that?
So I think a lot of it really, again, comes down to doing your market research and kind of knowing what are those touch points or those pain points that it's going to grab your client's attention. You know,
Right.
for us, it's kind of low-hanging fruit because there's not really anything in our community that is like what we're putting together. And so we don't need a lot of those bells and whistles. And if you're in a small community, you may not need much more than, you know, I don't know. We have an InBody in our office. So if we were running like a weight loss challenge, we could offer a diabetes, you know, course. We could offer a free InBody assessment at the beginning of the group and the
Mm,
end of the group, right? And that's really all we would need to do because we're in such a great position. If you're online competing for, you know, everyone's attention out of millions and millions of people and thousands of providers, coming up with something really unique that sets you apart and maybe adding 2 or 3 of those things could be to your advantage. So maybe it's partnering with like Living Plate and then offering done for you meal plans that accompany your program,
right.
or using something like Practice Better where they get a unique app for messaging for you. Those types of things can definitely, you know, sweeten the pot, so to speak, and entice people a little bit more towards your program. And I think those are the kinds of things you're talking about, right, Lesli?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so, you know, we want to stand apart, you know, and like, so from my perspective, again, I think we really have to look at the audience, right?
Yeah.
What are their needs? What makes sense? And also, what are your goals? What are your financial goals, right? Like, so there are definitely quite a few options. That all being said, it's really interesting. One of the models that I am seeing quite a bit of, is, and I would say, so I do have quite a few of my clients, my practitioner clients, working with, the GI, autoimmune, more, perhaps more in the functional nutrition area, right? And one of the things that I'm seeing that is working pretty darn well is what I would call a hybrid approach, okay? So the hybrid is basically where like maybe you've got, I don't know, I'll just throw this out as an example, like maybe a 6 week, 8 week, or maybe a 3-month kind of a program. And maybe part of that program is taught in a group, right? So maybe you meet every week, every other week, whatever you decide there. And some of the teaching and or Q&A is done in the group. And what I'm seeing work pretty well is combining that with maybe 1 to 2 private sessions.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm seeing that work really well because there are definitely benefits to that. If you look at it from the client perspective, especially as they, because a lot of these folks really, they're sick, right? They need help. And if you look at it from their perspective, some of them really they're willing to pay a higher price point to get more personalization. So I think that's one of the key things to consider for your audience. What degree of personalization are they looking for? And if they do want some personalization, why not just add, a couple or, 2, 3, whatever you think is best, some private work as well, right? And that way you're getting the best of all worlds, right? You're decreasing the number of one-to-one sessions that you would normally do for these clients, thus saving time and things like that, all those benefits. And at the same time, you're leveraging, right? Because you've got the group teaching and coaching integrated as well. So I really like that model. What's been your experience with that, Amber?
So previous groups have pretty much been just group work with maybe a few selective people doing some additional one-on-ones that were highly, highly motivated. With the group that we have coming up, it actually is going to be a requirement that they do one-on-one work with both the therapist and the dietitian, because it doesn't matter how great of a group you have, there is always, and especially when you're in the functional world, which I do some functional work, there's always going to be those nuances, right? That are specific to that person. And when it comes to managing group dynamics, depending on how large the group is, you may not have time to address all those concerns. And so being able to say, you know what, that's fantastic, that's very specific to you, let's talk about that in our one-on-one session, makes them feel heard, and that they're going to get that answer, which is really important in your group programs, that people feel heard and that they're getting their questions answered.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. So I'm finding many of my clients really great success in that model, and success for the client as well, right? Because it really meets their needs. They feel heard, I really feel strongly that it turns out to be a win-win for everybody. So I love that. Let me grab. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm just kind of looking at, I know what we need to talk about. I was just kind of looking at all the things that I promised to talk about. I use this term invisible bridge, and I don't know, I heard that the other day and I thought this is such a great way to visualize the sales funnel process. And so let's talk a little bit about that. How do you get people to go from finding you, growing your audience and actually finding you, to the point where they're comfortable in spending their money, investing in your services? So do you have any thoughts on that? I know for you, you're in such a great position because your business is very much referral based, and you've built up just like an amazing referral, just amazing partnerships in your community. So, I mean, that in of itself is a type of sales funnel though, right? If you think about it. So like, if you think through those steps, it's like, okay, the patient doesn't know about you, right? The physician or the psychologist or therapist, you've built the relationship with those practitioners. They let the patient know. The patient probably, like if you think about their steps, they're probably going to check you out online, right? They're going to like go to your, go online, Google you, kind of get a feel for who you are. They might look at your social media bios. They probably are going to go to your website. They very well might download your freebie on your website, right? And this is all part of that bridge, that process of developing that know, like, and trust. And then eventually they're going to probably call you, right? So that is a sales funnel too. Do you have any other thoughts on that, Amber? Like, what's been your experience?
I mean, mine has very much been built on building relationships. And I think knowing what your strength is and starting with that is so important. My strength is not social media. It's not email marketing. It's not SEO. It's building relationships.
Yeah.
And so now that I have, that built, I can focus on some of those other areas. And I think everything that you mentioned is really great. And I want to say that if you have a more online practice, that doesn't mean that if your strength's building relationships, that doesn't apply. There are tons of, physical therapists, physicians that are operating online who still need referral partners. So reach out and talk to them, and you can build it that way. But
Right.
I agree, social media, good SEO, being visible is key. And it doesn't matter if it's visible with referral partners or visible with social media or visible with SEO. If you're not visible, people are never going to know about you to get into that funnel.
Yeah, exactly. I think you bring up such a great point, and it's actually something that I talk to people about a lot. And that is this concept of like, I feel like we draw this really hard line in the sand, brick and mortar versus online.
We do, yeah.
And it's so interesting to me. Like, it's kind of bizarre if you really think about it, because why do we do that? It just, like, in my mind's view, there's so much crossover, right? So just to give you an example, like if you consider yourself an online business, right? You're seeing clients virtually, you can still market locally, right? You can still develop
don't forget
those
to do
relationships. Yeah, like do it. If you're not doing that, you're really missing out, right? It's just that you're seeing in if you have that type of practice where you're seeing clients on an online platform, that's all it means. It just means you don't have a physical office that you're seeing them in, but you can still work with your next door neighbor, right? Online, if that makes sense. So don't miss out on, it. Honestly, I know you guys have heard me say this before. If I were to pick one thing that really helped, it's relationships and collaborations. And I'm very similar to Amber. Like that's what I love to do. And I guess I would consider that a strength as well, right? I don't like working in isolation. And I've just found over the years that developing relationships and just helping people out, just kind of being open, approaching, relationships with curiosity just can be so beneficial. And it just makes our job more fun. And PS, it really helps build your practice too, right? So I do think it's really worth your time for sure. So anything else you want to add on that in terms of anything that we've talked about so far?
Oh, I'm sure I could add lots, but it is Friday on a 4th of July weekend.
Yeah. So we promise to keep this
We
short,
did,
right?
yes.
So, okay, guys, so let's talk about next steps. All right. So, if you are someone who has wanted to start a group program, has wanted to kind of, figure out the roadmap on how to do this, we have a really awesome program for you. And that's what we want to talk about next, just for a few minutes. So, I'm going to put the link on the screen so you guys can go check it out while we're talking about it. So this is a bit.ly link. So you just have to go to your browser, type it in exactly how you see it, bit.ly/Amber Gourley, and that's with a capital A and a capital G, just so you know, it is case sensitive. So what do we have for you? I am starting, this is like my absolute most popular course. I get so much good feedback, and it's to teach you how to create your leveraged offer. Not only how to create it, but how to launch it, how to fill it, how to do the marketing in order to, to get people in. Like usually that is really where people struggle. They think, and you can maybe relate to this, that the struggle is in creating the content, right? But again, I mentioned this earlier, if you don't have a marketing plan to get people in the program, it doesn't matter. You can spend like years putting your content together. It's not going to make, you're not going to have a program. You're not going to have a course. So this lucrative course blueprint, we're kicking off really soon. Basically, guys, we are looking at a 6-week immersion where each week, starting next week, you are going to get a new module. What makes this course really unique is that I am doing 3 2-hour laser coaching Q&A calls. And these calls are amazing. I did this, the exact same model last time I offered the course. I only do it once a year. So this is your opportunity. It was amazing. Everyone moved forward, like we talk about, well, what should I call my course, right? Because the name is so key. What should the bullet points be? Like, what should the modules be called, right? I can help you noodle through that. This course, again, 6 modules, everything from designing your irresistible game-changing course. So we do cover like how to do that market research, how to go about figuring out your topic, right? How to come up with a great title, other key considerations in the course creation process, whether or not you should do, what model, should it be a hybrid, right? Should it be a downloadable digital course, like more of an evergreen kind of thing. So I walk you through and hold your hand to make all of those decisions. Then in module, so those are the first 2 modules, more of the course designing process. Module 3, we move into marketing. Okay, so everything from timelines, launch calendars, how to work with promotion partners, how to develop those partners. I mean, you get literally calendars and word for word emails that I have used in my own successful launches, right? Like the whole email sequence. So modules 4 and 5 are all about marketing, how to do a sales page, like what goes on a sales page. Big question I get is the technology. So we do cover the tech, okay? So that part you're really gonna love. And then module 6 is about facilitation skills, really honing in on those facilitation skills. Lots of really juicy bonuses. We just added, as of today, 2 more bonuses. And guys, I just have to mention these. These are brand new as of today. I am giving you for free an entire course on how to create website copy that makes you money. It's got like modules. If you don't want to listen, you can just read. It's like, lots of PDFs that go along with that. And then the other bonus that we're adding is how to increase your visibility with content repurposing. And this is given by my wonderful tech genius, Rita. And those two bonuses alone are, let's see, are worth $500 right out of the gate. Easy. And then, of course, let's see, I've got 3 other bonuses. So lots of good stuff. If you guys have questions, let me know. Be happy to take those questions. You can just drop me an email. But I would love to have you. It's at last count, this particular course gives you 40 PDFs, like templates, how to do this, how to do that, like literally step by step. So check it out. I'd love to have you. One other thing, don't wait, right? Like so often we're like, yeah, I can do it another time. I do feel like there's a little sense of urgency, and that is, let's get this course out into the world in the fall, right? That's really my goal for you. If you want to step into this world of, leveraging your business and creating, more of a scalable income model, really fall is absolutely perfect. Like that, I would say is, maybe first of the year, but fall, kids are back at school, people are more focused. I think that's a really great time. So we can get it in before the end of the year. Anything you want to add, Amber? Because I know you've done this, right? Like we've worked together, you've done this process before. What are your thoughts?
The program is great. It's phenomenal. And there's nothing like going through a program to get ideas on how to run a program. That's always a good just learning experience in and of itself. And then, think about our current environment. People are tired of being alone. And so it doesn't matter if it's virtual or in person. This is a really, really, really great time to capitalize on world events and the fact that people want to be together and they want to do things as a group. And so, that's what I would add is think about the environment. This is a really, really great time for group stuff.
Yeah,
great time for group
it
stuff.
is. Yeah, people are craving community without a doubt. I mean, everyone is just, so it is, and this whole arena of, online learning, oh my gosh, just check out those numbers. It's crazy. So, and I believe every single one of you has something that you could teach in a group. I really do. Without a doubt. I mean, I would say most of us as practitioners, like, I don't know, like, okay, so there might be some people who are a little bit more on the shy side, but even so, it's really fun. It gives you variety. This course is going to handhold you every step of the way. Seriously, like not a stone is left unturned. I am I'm telling you, like, I have the practitioner gene, right? Like thorough is like my middle name. So, but not overwhelming, right? Because what I want to do is I want to make it easy. It's a blueprint, right? First you do this, then you do this, then we do this, right? So literally a roadmap. And it's everything that I do in my own launches, everything that I do. So I share it all. So check it out, bit.ly/Amber Gourley. And I would absolutely love to see you in Lucrative Course Blueprint 2021. All, like lots of new stuff added, based on the times that we're in. One other thing I was going to add, like to piggyback on what Amber said, is people are craving that just that sense of community. The other thing that I've noticed, and you all probably have noticed it too, is that after this pandemic, after everything people have gone through, I would say one of potentially the good outcomes is this heightened awareness around the necessity to improve our health, right? It is definitely, I think, ramped up. People know that we got to be healthy, right? And it's just going to make a huge difference. So now is definitely the time. I would just say don't wait, right? because there's never that perfect time, to do it. It's like, so yeah. Let's just get it done. I'll hold your hand every step of the way. All right. All right. Anything else, Amber, before we call it a day?
Thank you for having me on. It's always fun
So
to chat
fun.
and share tips for, to teach dietitians how to take their businesses to the next level.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you for joining me. And thanks to all of you that joined us live. And also those of you that are going to join the replay. Very much appreciate it. I hope everyone has a fun weekend. Stay safe, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.